Season 16 did not give us a new legend, but it changed everything when it comes to legend balance by adding the 5 new classes. So I had to make another Apex Legends tier list. As usual, I will be providing ideas for buffs on weaker legends and nerfs on OP legends to try and balance the game. But to be honest with you, this might be Apex Legends at its most balanced it's ever been. Not saying that it's perfect, and we'll get to that, but without further ado, let's start the tier list, shall we? F tier. No legends are so god-awful with no redeeming qualities to belong here, so that's good, I guess. Moving on to D tier. D tier legends have weak kits that require buffs or reworks to help them compete. And at the bottom of D tier, we have Revenant. His abilities in a vacuum seem like they would be very good, but in reality, they just don't do enough to really even compete. At one point, Revenant and Octane combined could wreak havoc, and now it won't surprise anyone above gold. Don't get me wrong, in the right hands, Revenant can be nasty. I'm looking at you, Sword Guapi, but if your goal is to get better and play at the highest level, Revenant will just hold you back. A buff that I think would work without being game-breaking is allowing Revenant and his teammates to return to his ultimate at any time, and not just when they die. This could allow for some smarter plays and stronger pushes that don't feel extremely risky. But until then, he sits at the bottom of this tier list in D tier. Up next in D tier, we have Fuse. Fuse has potential. His knuckle clusters can put in work, but are ultimately underwhelming. His ultimate can cause a ton of chaos, but it doesn't allow for the Fuse player to make big plays. Why is that? Because unlike Caustic or Catalyst, Fuse is greatly negatively affected by his own ultimate. I've proposed this buff before, but I will do it every time. Let him be immune to his own ultimate. Go one step further. Let him take less damage from explosives in general. This would change the way he plays drastically. It would allow for him to be more aggressive and destructive. And while we're at it, if he takes less damage from his own explosives, this could allow for him to grenade jump. This would give Fuse mains some insane tech and movement. These might be too much, but I just want to see it. Please respawn. Until they buff him in some capacity, he's also in D tier. I would finish the rest of this tier list, but I'm gonna be traveling soon, so there's no way for me to actually get the footage that I need because I can't take my whole computer setup with me. That's right, this video is sponsored by Asus ROG, and they sent me the ROG Strix G16. It is the perfect laptop for gaming on the go. It's so good that the footage that you're seeing on this tier list video was all captured on this laptop. And you know I play on max settings. It's got the next gen NVIDIA GPU and an Intel CPU. It's got the ROG Nebula display, which makes it look so beautiful. The colors pop. And with ROG intelligent cooling, you don't gotta worry about this laptop overheating and slowing down your gameplay. So whether you're playing Overwatch 2, Apex Legends, or you're editing this entire video, which I also did on this laptop, it's just that good. So if you're interested, click the link in the description down below and check out the ROG Strix G16. But now, back to the tier list. Now we have C tier. C tier legends have 1 or 2 solid qualities about them and can pair well with higher tier legends, but are outclassed in almost every way and can use a buff or slight rework. At the bottom of C tier, we have Mirage. Mirage is no longer the worst. His buffs do make him a lot more fun as a support character. Oh, that's right, he's a skirmisher? The simplest buff right off the bat is just making him a support character. He has a great revive mechanic, but the rest of his kit needs to do more. His clones do scan better, but why tease us, Respawn? Give his clones the full-on Bloodhound treatment, even if the scan just lasts for a second. But yeah, as a skirmisher, you have better characters to choose from that can actually rotate your team with ease. So he sits at the bottom of C tier. Next is Rampart. Rampart on paper seems really strong. Her walls provide a ton of cover, Sheila's nuts. I genuinely think she might end up being a sleeper pick in this current meta, especially since she's a controller legend now. But I do think she needs a small buff to how Sheila cools down. One of the frustrating parts about Sheila is that you won't get her ammo back until you put it down as a turret, and I think that limits the playstyle of Rampart. I think giving her ammo in phases, similar to Vantage but toned down a bit, could give her more optimal utility as a character who terrorizes doors. It's something to think about, Respawn. But yeah, she's C tier. Then we have my personal favorite legend, Ashe. Ashe's ultimate is the best part of her kit. The movement it provides is insane, but that's about it. Her passive can be useful to scout enemies, but it also lets the enemy know where you are, so it's not perfect. And her tactical can be great, but is easy to avoid. My suggestion to buff her slightly would be to lower the cooldown of her ultimate a little bit, so that way she can compete with the better movement-based legends, because she really is just outclassed in that department. She might be my favorite character, but that doesn't make her amazing. Sorry Ash, but C tier is where you are for now. Up next is Vantage. Vantage is a great entry fragger. Her mobility is selfish but solid, and her passive has good utility. However, she is simply just not necessary on a team when other characters provide more on every front. I honestly don't know how to make Vantage better without fundamentally changing her entire kit, but one idea is giving her sniper one more shot, just one more, just to see what happens. Could be fun. Then we got Lifeline. Besides her revivability, the rest of her kit leaves a lot to be desired. Lifeline's care package finally doesn't take an hour to come down, but I just don't think it's a good ultimate. It would be a perfect ultimate if it doubled as a respawn beacon. Now that she has the ability to craft her teammates' banners, I mean, just imagine how strong she would be if her ultimate also respawned them. Also, her tactical, let it move with her. Let the dock drone be a fun, rambunctious little drone that follows us around. Ultimately, she isn't bad, but there are just better support legends, which is why she's in C tier. At the top of C tier, we have Octane. Octane is undeniably the most fun legend in this game, but after they nerfed him by making his jump pad super loud, he just isn't as strong as he used to be. Other movement legends provide just a bit more safe movement options for rotations. One buff that I would recommend that he receive is for him to take slightly less damage when he stims, but otherwise, I don't really see him becoming meta viable until some strange wombo combo comes back, like Revenant being good again, or maybe Rampart. Time will tell, but until then, C tier it is. Now we have B tier. B tier legends are all decent. Some are even good in specific situations. These legends could use a slight buff, but ultimately they would be meta viable if other A tier and S tier legends were nerfed. At the bottom of B tier is Crypto. Crypto counters traps. If Watson and Caustic become super meta, then Crypto is super meta. If not, then not so much. He also got really nerfed by no longer being able to scan beacons to find the new zone. Instead, he can scan for enemies, which is fine, but he already kind of does that with his kit, so okay. I don't want to touch Crypto because, like I said, the moment Watson and Caustic are everywhere, then Crypto comes out to play. And I like that. He's just a solid counter pick and belongs in B tier. Then we got Bloodhound. Bloodhound is 100% outclassed by Seer. The moment that Seer is nerfed to the ground, Bloodhound will rise again. Simple as that. They are the second best scan legend. I do think that the Raven changes need to be better. They don't feel too great at the moment and are a little clunky, but besides that, B tier until the meta shifts. Up next is Gibraltar. Ah, how the mighty have fallen. Don't sleep on Gibby though. Gibby is still good. Sure, he has some competition now, and even some counters, but I still think a good team that works around his abilities can succeed. I won't deny that his size does hold him back, but he really doesn't need any buffs, and I think once higher tier legends get nerfed, we will probably see more of the Gipster. Next in B tier we have Newcastle. Newcastle has the best and safest revive. However, his kit does feel a bit on the weaker side. His shield barrier is decent, but slow and can be easily broken, and his ultimate isn't that hard to play around. However, in combination with some of the crazier characters on this list, he can do some insane things for the team. I would recommend that his barrier have slightly more health, but besides that, he sits comfortably in B tier. Then we got the boy Pathfinder. Pathfinder's new skirmisher passive makes him a lot better than he used to be, and with his ziplines moving people even faster, he feels pretty good. The reality is that he is simply outclassed by 3 other movement legends, but the moment one of them falls, it's Pathfinder time. Then we got Loba. Loba is such a strange character. Her ultimate is nuts. In the long game, it gives you essentially unlimited ammo and resources. However, if Loba becomes meta, she gets worse. Why? She's really only good if she's the only Loba yoinking all the ammo and loot, because if there's an enemy Loba, you'll just be stealing each other's loot the whole time, back and forth. She is a great anti-meta pick for that reason. I still wish that you could yoink your teammates' banners through the ultimate, especially now that you can just craft them, but regardless, you can use her every now and then and get great results, which is why she's in B tier. And at the top of B tier, we have Mad Maggie. Mad Maggie is the current best anti-meta pick. Her ultimate is great for rotations and breaching buildings that are blocked by catalysts or caustics. Her drill counters a ton of other strategies like Gibby, Newcastle, Catalyst, and Caustic. And overall, she's in a decent place. I think her ultimate could do a little more damage, but I wouldn't want to overdo it. That's why she is at the top of B tier. Now we're in A tier. A tier legends are really good. Using any of these legends in combination with the S tier legends is a good team composition. All legends should strive to be A tier. First up, we have Watson. Controller legends are very important now, since scanning for the ring is still overpowered. She has that new ability on top of already having one of the best ultimates in the game. The ability to stop nade spam and strong ultimates is always going to be good, while also charging some of your shields, on top of her fences being decent at holding down an area. They're a little easy to get around, but still good. She's just slightly outclassed by 2 other controllers in this game, but still A tier. Then it's Horizon. Horizon's the only character with a tactical ability that moves her entire team. On zone endings with a ton of verticality, she's even better. And her ultimate is still super strong. A tier just makes sense. I don't see anybody arguing with this. Then it's the thick boy himself, Caustic. Caustic is the best at holding down a room indoors, especially in combination with Catalyst. These rooms will all be yours. He's just a little bit weaker outdoors, especially when the ring pulls that way, but he makes up for it by having one of the best ultimates in the game for pushing aggressively. Caustic now can also scan for the next ring since he's also a controller. He just got a net buff this season, so if you find yourself using the Fart Man, you won't have any regrets. Then we have Bangalore. Bangalore in combination with Seer is nuts. It used to be the main meta for a while until season 16, but that all changed recently with Catalyst, but I'll get to that. Regardless, her smokes are incredible for rotations. Her ultimate creates plenty of space, and her passive is still insane. On top of being able to carry more ammo as an assault class, which is always a nice plus, she is still a beast of a character and belongs in A tier. Next, we have Valkyrie. Valkyrie has one of, if not the best ultimate for rotations in the game. Pair that with solid mobility in general, and you got an A tier legend. However, one other legend finally can compete with her ability to safely rotate a team, and it's none other than Wraith. Wraith's new buff to her ultimate makes her insanely good again. The portal can get a whole team across the map with ease, no fear of being shot out of the sky, and you can even bring your whole squad indoors, something that's a little harder for Valk to do. Her tactical is still a get out of jail free card, making her great for going for kills. So overall, she's amazing and is at the top of A tier. And finally, we have S tier. S tier legends are must picks, simple as that. They need nerfs or require a meta shift to be knocked down a peg. Up first, we have Catalyst. Catalyst's passive makes her insane for holding buildings. Her tactical is not that bad either, but what puts her over the top is her ultimate's ability to rotate her team while simultaneously combining insanely well with Seer. And if it isn't obvious, combining with Seer is kind of broken. I do think she needs some nerfs, and we'll talk about that once we talk about the next character. I think we need to see the end of the scan meta, which is why at our #1 spot at the top of S tier, we have Seer. Seer's tactical scan is not only great information, but if you get a knock, they literally cannot go for a revive because Seer will outright cancel it. Then he has the dumbest ultimate in the game, constant scans in a huge radius that go through walls, smokes, and catalyst walls. It's just unfair. And his passive is also nuts. He's a must pick, and until they completely overhaul his kit, I don't see how he stops being a must pick. One simple nerf is to straight up not let his ultimate work through catalyst walls. It would nerf both of the S tier legends, but this wouldn't stop Seer from being great with Bangalore. So on top of that, they just need to make his ultimate last way shorter or have a smaller radius. Just something to change his broken playstyle. But that's Seer, the destroyer of moons, at the top of S tier. So that's my tier list. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. I haven't done one in about 4 seasons, but thankfully this is a great season to do a tier list like this. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? If so, let me know in the comments down below who you think is the best legend and who you think is the worst legend. I'm genuinely curious what you guys think, and if you're really wild, you could just put your full tier list in the comments, I guess. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later.